Hello to the chicos, hello to the chicas. We are back again to the Chico, none other than Jospem, about whom I've made my last video, and now we are going to go back to the Peruvian-born Mexican GM who is already through to round 5 in Goa in the World Cup after defeating Alexey Sarana in round 4. And their second game, their second clash, was one that attracted the attention of the entire chess world, because after 13 moves it looked like it's going to be game over already, which is absolutely outrageous on this level. So without me spoiling it any further, let's actually have a look at what happened. So Jospem played again, by the way, and again here is very heavily emphasized, the Alapin Sicilian. So Sarana had to expect this to some degree, and he had to have some prep ready for this game, which makes what went down in this game all the more puzzling. E5, knight d5, d4 takes, bishop c4, the biggest main line of the knight f6 Alapin. And what we are following here is known to theory, it has been known to theory forever, and even my club players opening repertoire actually features this line for white. And in this position I mostly discuss the move bishop e6, which is not only the best but the most popular move in the position too. Now instead of this, Sarana played d3, which is already a very meh kind of way to deviate from the trodden path. The trodden path, of course, in this context means that black is running a risk of drawing the game, which normally would be no risk whatsoever, but since he had to play for a win, he had to take on a degree of risk. But this is just pushing it too far, and after knight a3, white already has a very, very, very pleasant position and the upper hand. White's initiative is already out of control, and our leading development is something that black will find very difficult and challenging indeed to tame. And Sarana played right into what has been known for decades as a losing move, rook c8, allowing this fabulous knight takes a7 idea, decoying the knight, and after knight e5, now the game is more or less over. Note that here bishop takes f7 is not that great, because in this case black at least gets 3 minor pieces for the queen. Objectively, white should be winning here too, because the black pieces are undeveloped, uncoordinated, scattered all over the board, and this should be a win too. But knight e5 is a lot cleaner with a raging attack. Now let's pause here for a second. I cannot help it, but I have to. 26-75 with black pieces GM falling for this is borderline unheard of as far as I can tell, especially knowing once again the context that he anticipated the Sicilian Alapin, because Jospem already played this in the tournament. I really don't know what went down here. I didn't listen to post-game interviews. I don't know if he was even saying anything. It is just absolutely wild. By the way, a few fun facts for you. This position in the Leech's master database occurs 5 times, 5-0 to white's favor. I checked my mega database. I found 18 games with a whooping score of, I think, 15 or 16 wins to white, 1 black win and 1 or 2 draws. So we're talking here about something really, really, really well established and well known. One more thing, obviously chess Twitter went nuts on this. My most important or most interesting tidbit about it was a post by fellow Australian Gary Lane, who published this very book in exactly 1990. I wonder if Jospem was already alive then. And in this very book, there is a page that looks like this. As you can see on the first diagram, knight takes a7 has just been played. Hello? How cool is that? In a book that is 35 years old now. Wowzers. Yeah, so this is very, very old and famous theory, and it's absolutely crazy city that Sarana allowed it. By the way, I did look into Sarana a little bit more. I was very curious about his history with the Alapin Sicilian, but to my greatest shock, not only did I find that he plays knight f6 on a regular basis against the Alapin, as well as d5, about half-half, but he has actually played the Alapin a fair number of times with the white pieces too, making this choice and entering this variation all the more puzzling. Now, the game ended in a very, very interesting fashion, because here Jospem realized that he had a forced draw, which I believe he claimed incorrectly. So his claim was refused, and then they kept on repeating, and then afterwards Sarana claimed the draw because he was in a dead loss position, and that was the only thing to do. The reason, by the way, why the engine attached a double question mark to this move, but not to this one, sorry, not to this one, is because that's the second repetition. But if you go third time, that means that the draw is claimable. The engine recognizes that, and it looks upon it as a missed win. Speaking of which, how to convert this? I think that the cutest way to win this game is to play here a4. You can throw in bishop f7 first, makes no difference. And now there are two variations I want to show you. They are both very, very cool. Queen c5 gets dealt with beautifully, but this is a more natural move to play than queen a6. And that would be bishop f7, king d8, knight d3, and this is actually all over Red Rover. Now the open d file, or the just about to open up d file, is going to decide matters. If takes, and knight d7, then we have got rook f d1, and it's very, very crystal clear that black is big time collapsing on the d5 pin. I'm not even taking the rook yet. Next move, I will take the rook, then the knight, and it's carnage. So black is best advised to tuck the queen away on a6. At least it's out of harm's way. And here I found a fascinating line. Not necessarily the best defensive moves for black, but bearing in mind that black is dead lost, not a lot of leg room and wiggle room here to be creative. The most beautiful aspect of this piece sack is that white is in no hurry to convert. Bring all the boys to the party. Because of we are down a piece, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to rush and immediately kill. When your opponent's king is stuck in the middle, pieces are all over the place, it is a guarantee that you are going to get there. So sometimes you need to take your time and just ensure that everybody is playing. Now the knight on b6 is more or less trapped, by the way, which is absolutely fabulous sight. And so I looked at knight c4, takes, and knight d7 is a beautiful concept. The idea being that now the open d and e files, in combination with this very, very cheeky sniper bishop on g3, will totally catch the king. For example, check, king d8, check, king e8, check, takes, check, and checkmate. This could have been one of the many finishes possible from that position, but as I said, Jospem decided to take the draw in order to ensure that he is already through to round 5. Now, last but not least, and I'm not suggesting this as yet another go at Sarana, but I will show you a way how black could have stayed within the margin of not risking too much, but playing a bit of an offbeat stuff. After castles, in the game Parker v Zhao Zhue, Parker was a huge aficionado of the Series 3 Alapin, by the way. G6 is a move. Now, this is also known to theory, and it is also considered to be a inaccuracy / mistake. Somewhere halfway through, in between. Right? But this is a lot more playable than what Sarana did. But even here, as you will see, Parkovi demonstrates a beautiful victory. And I'm bringing this example to you to demonstrate that black is walking a tightrope in these lines in the Alapin. And without very thorough knowledge of theory, you are playing with fire, which is why it's a very, very dangerous weapon, especially on lower levels. Knight e4, queen d7, cd4. And again, the impression is that the black pieces are just tragically misplaced. Bishop g7, d5. The isolated pawn is meant to be blockaded. It's not. It also is a strength, not a weakness, as it often is. Now we say note to the queen trade, and note how beautifully the white pieces are coming out, one after the next, always on beautiful squares, often attacking stuff. f5 was played, and this was actually a blunder, as now after d6, e6, Parkovi came up with the goods, a beautiful move exploiting the queen. Remember in the previous game we tucked it away on a6, now it's on h5, trapped. Now if fe, then c-ya, wouldn't want to be ya, so they played bishop e5 to prevent the other queen trap that was threatening by knight g3, but unfortunately for the Chinese GM, later GM, g4 still traps the queen, and the game is over. So the long story short is that Jospem is through, and now he's probably the biggest sensation in a way of the World Cup. I don't think anyone would have predicted that he would go that far. We also learned that the Alapin is to be respected, and you can't just deviate at will, and you know, she will be fine, because even at 2670 level you can get knocked out in a mere 13 moves. And with that, friends, we are going to call it off for today. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.